Spicy choice there, Noun Square. We see you. We see you reaching deep into the chili cabinet. Zargs is in the house. Let's get her up here. Added as a speaker. Here we go this evening. We have a bite with me. We have Andrew in the house. Chef Andrew. Chef Andrew. You have been invited. A bite with me is in the house. You have also been invited. Come on up to the stage. I can press these buttons all day.
I'd love to take it.
Art is my weapon is here. You are invited.
Don't
And
forget
for your
room.
poignantness, graphy, why don't you come up as well? Wow. I really don't want the music to stop this evening. What a cool choice. Almost on the fly, I think. Order in. Great music. Nailed it. So, Chef Andrew, we see you down there. I will again do this invite to speaker, and you should see this little thing pop up at the top of the screen. You can hopefully catch it in time and then come on up as a speaker, or you can hit the request button in the lower left corner. And so we will give you about 29 minutes to figure that out. All right. Well, we are excited this evening. This is one of our first times experimenting with splitting the room into two 30-minute segments. I think that's pretty cool. Maybe puts a little less pressure on guests, as well as, keeps it spicy. And so within that, welcome to the experiment. So this evening, we have two conversations. The first, we're going to talk with A Bite With Me and learn about basically their journey of how their personal cuisine created itself, and with all foodies and cooks and chefs, we all have our own journey that kind of takes us through our own personal time in space of food, and within that we kind of find our own cuisine. And so that's pretty cool. We really think that'll be wonderful. And then we will jump over in the second part of the show and we will talk to Andrew about basically what I need to catch up on with Andrew. I need to know what he's been catching, what he's been cooking, and what he's got going on for the future. So let's just jump in and get started. So thank you so much, A Bite With Me, for being here. I'm on your website right now. This is a really sweet website. I suggest everyone checks it out, abitewithme.net. Super cool. Thank you for coming this evening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the invite. It's awesome. Wanna say hi?
Yes, definitely. We're trying to.
Hello.
Hello.
That's
Hello again.
that's my wife. Oh, that's the tiny one.
We think that people should start young and learn food at a young age, and that's kind of how you grow to find your way around a kitchen, learn to feed yourself, learn to eat healthy at a young age, and not have to reverse learn that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're totally here for it, and I'm sure at some point in time someone will come up with some cool educational content for younger ages. But thank you, and we have no problem with distractions and noises. I'm sure this magic wand of mine will come out at some point with a whole repertoire of annoying sounds. So that's awesome. I guess you guys are a two-person team, or at least started out that way, or the origin story. I guess that came to be A Bite With Me. And so, can you speak about your personal part of that team and your personal part of the journey?
Yeah, I'm actually the way that it started.
I'm sorry. What a bad first question. What is a bite with me for people who have not checked out your cool website and figured out what you guys have going on?
Well, for us, the journey was basically started with us trying to. It was my partner Misan, who is also my life partner. She was thinking about a way to introduce whole food to use as nourishment uh, for people and change people's perspective of like what a home cooked meal really tastes like. And there's just we knew that there's like a kind of a void here in our city where uh, we felt like people were using, processed meats to, or like, vegetable as fake meat to in their cuisine to claim to be vegan, and we were kind of like we kind of went the other direction and use whole foods to actually use to benefit the body a little bit more.
And so you guys you offer vegan and you offer vegetarian, but you also have a few dishes that aren't. I see a braised beef and a delicious pork belly dish on here. I I also have a journey as far as part of my chef story being intertwined into the raw vegan thing, and I loved every bit of it, but it never like worked exactly for my body and just was never like became really my go-to one cuisine, but I really kind of like loved it and have worked it into my food ever since. But I think it is really interesting to see menus that have delicious vegetarian and vegan items, worked in um, on purpose, like with a strong focus on that. But so you guys have a catering menu. Is that predominantly what your focus is currently? I'm sorry, I didn't
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
that. Yes.
yes. My partner, she's kind of like stage fright. I'm
Oh,
trying to
no
get her
worries.
to say something like, because anyways, I was, so the catering menu is because we're working on a food truck. So we're working on getting funds for that. So right now we're doing, small scale catering and trying uh, to expand off of that, so like just playing around with different flavors, different ways of doing our menu, and so yeah, that's that's what that is right now.
Nice. So you guys, I mean, I guess when you're set up to do catering, you can do all sorts of different sizes. What makes the food truck something that you see as a something that you want to expand the business into?
We were thinking of, it's always been a goal of ours to get to that point, um, or to get the food truck, and we never really thought about it till like recently with COVID and what the pandemic did to a lot of brick and mortars, and we're thinking like, oh man, this is a really good time to kind of fill that that space here in our city, not only because we get to use the vehicle to travel, but we also have have that space to fill, because we're lacking in that department with our with the restaurants.
And do you have specific areas in mind that the food truck would operate in? You probably have some prime target spots for that you think the city really would come support?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We have some spots. Mainly right now, I think what we would plan to do to expand it would be doing festivals. You know,
Yep.
do more of the festival. We're doing that now, but some of these festivals, you know, are up north. We live in Indiana, and not about 15-minute border from Michigan, and there's a lot of festivals up there that are
Hmm.
calling for new innovative type of food, which is something that we feel that we have. Um, so I think the food truck would definitely help kind of expand that for us.
So you've
So
probably been doing something on under a tent, like at some of these events, like still offering food, but perhaps being able to come in with the full setup in a truck obviously expands that world tremendously.
correct. Yep. Right now it's all the tents, the chafing pans,
Yep.
the whole deal.
Yep.
It's really hard work, loading up the truck or our trucks and our trailer, to haul this stuff to the events, unloading and setting up the tent, doing all that stuff. So we're definitely uh, we're excited to get to the next level.
Yes, definitely. Well, do you mind me asking? I mean, you've probably spent many hours looking at food trucks and everything that goes with it. That's something that I don't. Well, I'm sure it hasn't been done yet within the Nouns ecosystem. I think that eventually something like that will be done. I'm getting texts from Andrew. I think he's having technical difficulties. He's learning about rugging for the first time. Allow only while using the app. What, I don't know why the microphone isn't granting access. Maybe we can get some technical support in the room here. He's having trouble with his microphone access. But with a food truck, I think a lot of times people think that you can you can just get an old box truck and like hope for the best, and turn it around real quick for a couple $1,000, and it's not really like that. So if you just had to like throw out a ballpark number, what do you think a food truck would be running these days for the type of operation that you would like to run?
So right now, what we've been looking at, and just through a stream line of friends who are in the business too, they shot numbers out at us at, where people are selling trucks for about 65 grand, and that's like a full setup, and that's like a kind of like a beginner level there, that would pretty much just have everything we need to operate what we're serving. Um, and the most expensive, because we also are kind of like eco-friendly, like conscious, I would
Hmm.
say. We're more so. We designed a food truck that ran solar instead of generator, and that cost up to like $150,000. But that would be more of like a brand new truck, you know, uh, 0 miles kind of thing, and all that stuff.
I think the chicken got out when you started getting all eco on us. Well, those are cool numbers. So let's just say 65,000, and then we probably have to like do some things to the truck. So we'll call it 75,000. Don't I have an ETH converter here in front of me? So this is currently 55.19 ETH. You know what I'm saying? So like I think that a nounish food truck could be really neat. I don't know if the deal can get done, but I think it's a cool thing. I think that there's ways to communify it. There's ways to do cool things. Perhaps there's ways to have certain days be. I don't know. It would be a great platform to be creative as far as how to make it nounish, but all in all, 55 ETH. You know, some days that's a noun, some days that's half a noun. So is what it is. But it's a pretty cool challenge if you ask me. So before the food truck, what are some things that you have planned coming up for this fall and this winter? Do you have some highlights on the A Bite with Me tour?
Yeah, so we're finishing up our outdoor events. We did want here in our neighborhood. In our city, we have what is called Best Week Ever, and it's basically where there's like multiple events throughout the week. Food vendors, music, live art, all sorts of like from the zoo to downtown to the library. Like there's just events all over, and we finished up ours here in our neighborhood actually this Sunday. We have one more this coming Friday, and after the outdoors events, I think we're looking at finishing up the Notre Dame football concession stand that we have there, and basically look into doing collabs with different restaurants here where they're gonna let us use their facility to do pop-up events and whatnot during the winter.
That's really smart, actually. That's super cool. A good like extension for them and you during the winter time.
Yep, correct. And that's something that we're trying to get into, the cross pollination, in our community. All these people that really support us want to see us succeed. There's people from, California that and New York that have come in this year, actually, that were surprised to see that we were doing something so creative. They've been around the city and they were kind of giving up hope with the food scene a little bit, and then they found us, and they were just like very ecstatic because what we're providing is something a little bit more unique outside of the train of mind of our current culture here in our city.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I've been having some conversations with different builders, and I think that cross pollination presents a really cool opportunity to just expand the eyeballs on what you have going on, and to continue to have communities cross over and meet each other in that sense. We have wine by nouns in the audience this evening, and like that could be really cool. Wine by nouns at a Bite with Me event. It sounds wonderful and extremely nounish. So it's stuff like that I think we'll probably see quite a bit more of as, people essentially, I think within the food space and the beverage space, you're almost required to, essentially turn it into a business from day one, just so that you can get business insurance to operate a food and beverage company. And so within that, I think that there will just be a lot of these small businesses that are incubated, maybe more so than like technology plays and stuff like that. I think a lot of the tech stuff will just be tech for tech's sake, and given away CC0. It may not even be under a company license, and they might be completely funded props and that kind of thing. But in this particular space, I think that we'll see by default a little bit more of the actual incubation via the micro funding that comes from whatever DAO it's coming from. And so that's pretty neat. And I think that then there will be probably more crossover potential, because when something becomes a brand, it kind of inherently functions a little bit or a lot more like a brand. And yeah, brands just function slightly differently when it comes to the marketing side, but really cool. And we can't wait to taste the food. So Are you mainly the chef? Do you share the duties 50-50? Are you still learning from your wife? Like, what is happening here?
My wife does most of the cooking.
That's what I thought
Yeah,
she would be the better chef, but
yeah.
we appreciate you coming on and being the voice this evening.
She yeah, she's the harder worker. She has no like uh culinary education, but that's where I basically come in and kind of help with recipe development and utilizing what we have to make what we produce. And she's the hard worker who basically takes all this information and she makes it happen. So uh, big shout out to her because right now it's more like 90-10. um, because I have a full-time job outside of the business, where I had
Yep.
to kind of transition into because I was getting really burnt out working the hours for this basically this banquet hall. And so I before this our business took off, I want to be in a very peaceful state of mind, so that when this does happen, and it's because it's happening really soon, that
You're referencing the food truck.
correct. So
Let's go. So
when the
you're
food
this
truck.
you've already like started rolling something down the hill.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, we have capital to put down as down payment, but
Cool, man.
it's not enough to support the business, if we were to utilize it that way right now. But we so yeah, we're just trying to get a couple more funds going. We there's this platform called Honeycomb that allows us to open up different ways, or different ways for people to invest in our business, who get an ROI from it. So like it could be friends, family, anyone who puts in money into this pot, and basically there will be a return of investment for those people. So that was something that we kind of looked into to maybe help fund the next stage. But that's just kind of up in the air right now.
Well, I would say everybody, has their own strategies when it comes to fundraising. Um, and so you'll have to figure that out for you and your community. I'm by no means anyone to ask when it comes to that. But as far as just a creative thought, it could be cool. What if so like what if you're like basically funded, you have your truck, but you can pull your permits, the whole thing, whatnot. But as far as operating, in a more smooth and fluid way, let's say, again, I'm just thinking out loud, like let's say that you put a prop in and the nouns were able to fund you on some level. What if like one day a week for a year, you rolled up to someplace, different, maybe you fed kids one day for free, and like one day out of your week was kind of like something extremely nounish, not profit driven. um that could be interesting, or something like that. I don't know if, again, what I think each project within the DAO has different levels of sustainability requirements, depending on all sorts of factors, to be honest. But I do think that from just like a very nounish standpoint, it could be really interesting because you essentially have this thing on wheels, and that opens up like a whole lot of capabilities when it comes to taking a meme someplace. So a lot to think about. We really appreciate you brainstorming here with us this evening. Can you
Yeah,
speak to a couple of your favorite dishes, and maybe I think it's Contest Toshi over there. I think her stomach got the best of her. Contest Toshi, do you have a food question this evening?
Well, I can't hear about someone looking for funding and not talk about the Dow funding of the Downs. But I no, honestly, you already kind of covered that too. But I just wanted you to know about with me, like you couldn't have stumbled into like a more like perfect group, especially for where you are right now. I was originally thinking about, and then do you know what we're talking about when we say proposals for the nouns? Or is this sort of your first time hearing about that?
No, yeah, I've been following nouns for about 4 months now. So
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Oh my gosh. I'm literally like, when you're originally talking about the food truck, and I talk like all week long with builders, people putting in props. I have a prop that's passed. I'm working on like a couple of props right now with people. And so, like, I really, really enjoy speaking about all this kind of stuff. But I originally was thinking that you were going to do an on chain prop that was a higher ask for the whole truck. But now that there's this piece of it that you kind of do have, I think that I think that being profit, driven is also very nounish. And I just want you to be very clear about that as well. It's actually something that's been really asked about for a lot of, you know, people putting props through, and almost like told to them, like, we're really inspired and want you to be inspired to make profit. Like, how is that going to happen? Like, how will you be self-sustaining and stuff too? So I think that you actually are unique in that way, where you straight away can say, well, hey, this is a business model. This thing's going to be rolling around doing
Well,
its
I
thing.
think that's kind of one thing I was saying without necessarily saying is like, if he's already operating and getting it
Hmm.
off the ground, then that's a lot of skin in the game. And, that also, I think, makes a prop, feel more long term and feel like just like a more interesting type of idea or project that people could get behind. But
yeah,
again,
so
it really just comes down to how you distill an idea down into something that can work within this particular type of structure and ecosystem. And I do think that that's a challenge for every single person, because it's an always moving target as well. And that's also just inherently very organic, and we like things organic around here, so we're here for it.
So one, if I could touch just very
Please.
quick on the other aspect. So I've been in like this platform, which is a lot of people the Web3 for about a year now, a year and a half, and so a lot of things that inspired me to basically take this our business to the next level was being around this kind of stuff. And so there we do plan on, because the other way that we were going to do the give backs kind of thing was to fund a non a non-for-profit. um, so like where proceeds go to this non-for-profit that we also govern here with a small group of community members, and we decide where that money is going to be going. So like so not only with a bite with me, but we want to be the ones who establish it, and then other people in the community that want to be part of the ecosystem also be able to fund that. And our main target is actually to help our local farms continue to do what they're doing. And so we could always appreciate good food when good food is available. So yeah, that's part of our goal is to get that kind of stuff going. So yeah, we're just doing outreach stuff. We want to get our first. We don't even have like we don't even have like uh, business T-shirts, I guess. So our our first goal was to get kids together, like, and I don't know how this is going to happen, but I want kids to draw their favorite vegetable, right? And each, and we can pick from, a list of, these vegetables and have it printed on our T-shirts, and we maybe print like 100 of them at a time, and then like, that's kind of like something that we want to give back to the community. So part of the proceeds from that will also help fund the non-for-profit, where we can continue to move forward sustainably.
No, that's very interesting. That's very cool stuff. Um, we are just now starting to get to a point where we're going to be doing some different versions of funding in the DAO through Prop House, which will come on. I don't know if I should on chain. I guess it come on chain. It'll come online here probably in about a week once their new Prop House V2 is all done. That'll be really neat. And so definitely keep an eye on that. And then we have a thing that we call the Prep Kitchen, which we are going to be experimenting with microfunding as well. So, yeah, you know, we hope to see all sorts of really cool ideas come in. So just keep an eye on that as well. And we are working very hard to get all the information out there so that people kind of have a very clear understanding of how to apply for that. And so I do think that we will pretty much have all the systems in place over the next few days. But, we think that, again, I'll just say, and as we move into the second part of the show, it's a perfect time. So at Food Nouns, essentially, we kind of got together and we started thinking, well, what are some things that we can be very like high level and broad about, but still be like fairly clear about things that we stand for and that we're kind of looking for as far as where the funds will go. And then from there, it's all creative. But we basically came up with 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars are food innovation and production, or food production and innovation, education and entertainment, food and beverage industry wellness, and fun. And so with those, we really think that, that could be incubation of small businesses, that could be pizza parties, that could be community gardens, and hundreds and thousands of other ideas and concepts as well. So yeah, we really are interested in getting that part of it started because we feel pretty strong about, like, we think that we've done a good job to make it clear and get it ready to get to this point. But yeah, it's exactly ideas like you were mentioning that we hope to see funded. Contest Toshi, I saw the hand again.
Well, I just heard you talking about kids like drawing cute little veggies. I have to show you
You can
the
draw
Food Nouns
one
DAO.
too. Don't worry, we'll get
Well,
you
I have
one
to
as
show you
well.
the Food Nouns DAO playground. So I just pinned to the top a tweet from Food Nouns DAO. That's just like our official account. It should be lurking in here somewhere. It's not tonight. But if you go actually to the website, you'll see the test kitchen. And you can literally just randomly generate food nouns. There's tons of little veggie ones. There's obviously a lot of desserts. We had to do that. A lot of these are noun heads and that you'll like notice and like recognize from the nouns collection, but we also added like more than 30 new ones. And so it's super freaking fun. They all have these little cute legs. Just when you were saying the little drawing contest, I had to just show you that. It just totally reminded me of it.
No, yeah, it's pretty awesome. And this is so this is just like a way for me to come up with a concept that will help onboard people, right, from our community. Because right now, our city, like it's kind of interesting. They're I tried to get people onto our Twitter, like get on our Twitter because that's where we do most of our giveaways and like contest winners. That's where we're gonna do most of our stuff because the platform just works so much better than Facebook, right? So, but yeah, it's a struggle. So this is just kind of my way of like, what can I do to basically help people realize that there's this movement in the background that they have no idea is happening, with the Web3 and the technologies that are coming up. So, and how is that going to have effect in our city, in our community? Like, what are we going to be doing? So, like, yeah. So basically, I want to be able to help educate, and be there, and one of the first to help with that transition.
That's incredible. And you're already here, so you already are. And we have also drank the Web3 broth, and it was delicious. But we really thank you for being here this evening. We certainly welcome you back. We have all sorts more to talk about. We didn't even dive into delicious dishes. We would love to hear from your wife as well if she would like to come back and hang out. we are going to transition this evening into what is a nice big warm hello for me to my chef buddy, Chef Andrew. Chef Andrew, how are you? You found Twitter Spaces. It wasn't that bad, Chef, right?
Thank you, Grant. How's it going, buddy?
Oh man, we're chilling. We're hanging out. I have a little lemon ginger water here, just keeping it fresh this evening.
Nice, very nice.
So
First off, I want to thank you for having me on your show.
absolutely,
Thank you
man.
very much, Grant. And this is my first time on Twitter, guys. Be easy.
you know, we don't have to worry about that too much. We got to break you in a little bit, Andrew.
All right.
Andrew, he can take a little bit of hazing, a little bit of grazing, for sure, no problem. Well, Chef, do you have this evening off? What's going on? You're hanging out on a Wednesday night?
Yes. All right. So, as an executive chef, you guys know how the hours work. You kind of work until real late when most people are already asleep, and then you come home and you get to find your family asleep. And I have been fortunate enough to be able to take a moment in my career to work some mornings. I get to have some time with my wife and my dogs and our son who is growing inside of my wife's stomach at the moment, and we get to feel a little bit of family closeness at this time before we get into our next project of opening a restaurant, which is well underway.
Well, Chef, you have your basket full, and
Yes.
congratulations on everything. And we're seeing some babies and some families coming through the Food Noun O Clock. We had Chef Gottlieb on. His child, I think, is 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Toady is making his way into the Food Nouns universe, and I believe he's expecting a baby. So it must be something in the broth over here at Food Nouns. Well, so thank you for hanging out, and
Of course.
I know Andrew from the evening hours, so I've seen him operate at these times, folks. Don't worry, he's a professional. But so how's the morning thing working out? I'm a bit of a morning person myself. I even get in trouble when I am let's just say an overly ambitious morning person. I get things thrown at me. I get the morning look, so hopefully you're doing great as being a morning person.
I will tell you, when you transition from nights to mornings, it's a whole new life. It really is. And it all starts in the morning. Just when you go to the gas station, whether you've got to put gas in your truck or you got to put some air in your tires or you need to get a 5-hour energy drink, you get a whole new community around that. And just the guy at my local gas station right by me, Gary, I'm already friends with Gary. Somebody who I never would have met if I didn't switch to these hours. And it's a
You
whole
get the
different
morning seagulls down there.
That's
You're by the
that's
coast.
right.
You get that fresh that
That's
that
right.
that morning coastal mud, grass, salt, and seagull, baby.
Oh yeah, get to pass a lot of sunrises, a lot of gulls flying around.
One of the most
I get
beautiful sunrises
it.
I've ever seen.
It really is. The Charleston sunrise is something beautiful. For anyone who hasn't seen it, I recommend you coming down and checking it out.
I used to have to get up pretty early to make it to cooking school for a good bit of time down there. And yeah, those were some early mornings. And sometimes in Charleston the night turns into the morning, and so overall you're probably going to see yourself a sunset.
That's right. That's right. And
Well,
big
Chef,
fan of it.
so what's cooking? What's cooking down there in the Low Country? I shared some of these massive fish pictures. What were the fish that you were holding up in those pictures that I shared?
All right. So the one that's solo, the big giant by himself, is a wreckfish.
Sick.
That is a fish that everybody who comes down to dine, whether you're local or you're a tourist or just somebody exploring Charleston for the first time, the wreckfish is certainly a fish that you get excited hearing about. They call them wreckfish because they are exhibited in wrecks, real deep down cold waters, anywhere from 300 feet to 1,500 feet. Not to
Amazing,
be
man.
too graphic, but when you see some of those big eyes kind of bulging out, that's because at those depths, when they reel those fish in, the
Yeah.
change in pressure can actually cause those eyes to pop out of the skull a little bit, not to scare kiddies away.
Hey,
It's just science.
it looks like a yummy snack. Does anybody eat the fish eyes down there?
No, we have definitely played with them. We have
Yeah,
smoked
of
them. We've
course.
done it all.
Yeah, exactly. People have definitely snacked on those delicious fish eyes before. But that's a really
That's right.
interesting little chef factoid.
Yeah, and then the striped bass are the other ones.
Okay.
Striped bass are what I grew up catching the most. That was my favorite fish to catch when I lived in New York, in Long Island. But you can catch them everywhere from Maine all the way down to Florida. But they're pretty much bigger the further north you go. Most of them in Virginia are kind of caught by the boats out here that go out that far. When they go up to the Outer Banks, they're able to catch some good sized striped bass and bring them down to port here.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so those are what waters are these each coming from?
So these are North Atlantic.
Amazing.
Yeah, these are straight ocean fish, all of them. They're not bay, they're not inland, they're not brackish river fish. They are just straight ocean fish. And I love all fish, everything from freshwater flounder that you can catch with a spear or a gig in 5 feet of water, all the way to these wreck fish that you're catching in 1,500 feet of water. They're all fun. They all tell a different story. They all live in different environments and different temperatures and off different foods. And each time when I'm breaking one down and preparing it for a customer, I keep that in mind while I'm doing it. It's not just a hunk of meat, it's a fish, it's an environment. It tells us a story of where it came from.
Now I know that you are good about these things. What are you doing with the carcasses of a fish that large?
All right. So one of those, a wreck fish that size, is able to make a fish stock or fumet. I'm able to get about 22 quarts, or we could say about 5 gallons of fish stock out of that. You add some fennel and white wine to that, celery, carrots, and you can make a great base out of that, a nice fish fumet, and turn that into some beautiful sauces. Make some great bouillabaisse for
Mm.
any of the food fans out there that really love seafood and you want to put it all into one dish all together. Bouillabaisse is certainly the way to go. But you can even clarify that fish stock and you can make some fish consommes, and you can go Asian with it, which I love to do, and make some really great broths. I've done ramen. You just do a lot of cool things with it.
A fish ramen. That sounds delicious, man. And you ever I guess would would some people maybe make like a little fish meatball, put in that ramen, little fish meatballs?
Oh, absolutely. You can do fish meatballs, which I have done several times. I actually like to do a play on the coveted crab cakes that people love. I like to do that with fish. Instead of using the word fish scraps, when you hear scraps, it has that negative connotation. People start thinking it's bad meat. It's not. It's just, it's great meat, but you can't necessarily cut a whole fillet out of it. There's a lot of parts on a fish when you're breaking it down, same with any animal, where there's great meat on there, super edible, clean, beautiful meat, but it's not large enough to cut a whole portion to serve. But with that meat, I like to make a fish cake. Same way that I prepare a crab cake, but I do that with fish, and sometimes I'll add some shrimp to it to really keep the
Mm.
seafood theme going.
Delicious, delicious, chef. That sounds spectacular.
I miss
What
cooking fish with you, sir.
man, I love cooking fish. It's probably one of my favorite proteins to cook. There's just something about it when the temperature of the pan is just right and the fish just like kisses the pan and jumps right off and keeps cooking, and I just like it a lot. And then the trick is really to like turn it down to almost like a medium high heat to get that crust perfect. But dude, I love fish, and I was always really happy to see that you were playing around with these big fish. So obviously, you're breaking these down. Who's breaking them down on the days off? Who else? You have you got a strong crew of fillet knives over there.
Oh yeah, certainly. Um, we have a great crew. Pretty much everybody in there is certainly able to break down fish. It's something that we love to teach people.
Are you ever like weighing before afters, going for like waist proportions or anything like that?
Well, it depends on the restaurant. Certainly, in some, when you rely off the whole fish, you do. The main thing is that you're trying to calculate your usable portions, so you get how much you paid for the fish per pound, how many portions you're able to get
So I
by
was going
that.
to kind of ask. So like, let's say the big fish on the left, ballpark. How much? What are we talking to the distributor? Are you? I mean, because this would be to a seafood distributor more than likely.
Yes. So, well, to give you an idea how it comes to a restaurant, if you get that whole fish, especially a wreck fish, let's say that fish that I'm holding is probably about 37 pounds.
Yeah, I'm surprised you
Probably,
could lift that thing up, Andrew. No,
listen, that's those workouts. I try to follow the ones I see you post.
Andrew, the thing that brought him to the kitchen is people would say, probably tell him back in the day that they had this thing called pig skins, and he just got a little confused, and he just ended up in a freaking kitchen one day, and he loved it.
No.
That was a bad joke. I don't know. We're trying.
It was a good one. It was a good one.
And
But yeah,
Andrew's he's not one of these chefs that you want to run into too fast on the line with a pair of slippery shoes on, baby. You know what I'm saying? But
hey, no running in the kitchen. That's how I got hurt. That's how I had my big accident.
We might even see if Andrew can talk one of his mixed martial art friends to come and have a conversation with us about some of their pre-fight nutrition. But I might be getting ahead of myself on that one. But
no, we can pull that off for sure.
We would love to talk to the gladiator in all of us.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. Yeah, no
So
running.
let's get back to the fish. So okay, so the fish on the left, the wreck fish.
Yes. So say you have about a 36-pound fish, and when you say usable meat, that's just the part that you're actually able to sell as a portion. You're probably pulling off about 18, maybe 20 pounds of that. And then you've got to cut that into matching size. It's got to be the same size. You can't cheat a customer. It can't be, if you're doing a 6.5 ounce portion, you can't give somebody a 4 ounce. It has to all be perfect. So you've really got to take your time with these cuts. You got to have a sharp knife. You got to take your time. You got to use a nice scale. And it's nice to get 4 fish in at a time and cut for the whole week, but you can't do that. You got to keep it fresh. It's got to be fresh, baby.
So that fish right there would be a weekend fish, maybe a busy Friday night, a busy Saturday night.
I would say if that came in on a Friday at 2 p.m. and we served it at 5, I would need another one of them by the middle of Saturday.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, what else are you doing when you're not cooking fish? Because we can sit here and talk fish all day long, but Charleston is definitely known for other types of cuisine. And when we were cooking together, you were cooking a lot of steaks at the time.
That's right.
Crushing those steaks on that hot ass broiler. What's coming off the land these days, chef?
Good memory, my man, and thank you for that step towards what I'm actually doing. And what I'm working on is a steak restaurant, which is going to be focused around prime meat cuts.
Oh yeah, let's go.
So yeah, big meats, big cuts. It's a beautiful thing. When you think celebrations, whether it's an anniversary, a birthday, a big Friday night, good times with friends that you haven't seen in a while, or just you need to get out of the house and really enjoy yourself. Most people, the first thing that comes in mind, other than the beverage side of things, is a big steak. Call it what it is. That's what everybody's looking for, and that's what I'm looking to give.
Oh, absolutely, man. It is the truth. We love a beautiful piece of meat. We talk about meat and steak quite a bit around here. We have definitely like a large focus on where our food comes from and what it all means.
That's right.
And yeah, definitely. And I know that you do as well. There's no way that anybody can be like deeply and purely involved in food and not understand that and not see that. I had a delicious steak dinner recently in New Orleans at a place called La Boca, and it was wonderful. You might see some of that, but yeah, that was a really delicious skirt steak, I believe we had ordered. But
Yeah, and there's a lot of cuts that people forget about. People
yep,
kind of hang on to the big three: the filet mignon, the New York strip, and the ribeye. But there are a lot of great cuts that come from a cow. There's so many that are more affordable, that are family friendly, that just have different chews and flavors, prices and textures, and just a whole different experience. And I really want to show a lot of that to the people too. I follow this guy named Pat LaFreda. So anybody
cool.
who wants to follow Pat LaFreda, he's the godfather. He's his original third generation Brooklyn meat butcher as it gets. Pat LaFreda, check him out. His grandfather, his father, him, and everybody he's ever known in his circle is just meats. It's straight out of warehouses in Brooklyn. They run the tri-state region, New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut area. And he can sell these prime and Wagyu cuts all day long. But he loves emphasizing the stuff that people don't see: the hanger steaks, the flat irons, the skirts, the flanks, all the great stuff. Spider steaks. A lot of people have never heard of a spider steak.
I've never heard
Culotte
of that.
steaks. Yeah, it's a lot of fun stuff that you get when you get to play around, and you get yourself a butcher knife and a bone saw, and you get to really see what you have inside the animal, and it's a beautiful thing.
No, absolutely, man, for sure. We're going to come back and finish this conversation off. We have 3 minutes on what we do here, Andrew. It's called a POAP. I did not get you coached and ready for that. Now we are in the 2 minute window. So if anybody has the POAP app, go ahead and get your POAP app out. We'll play a little bit of a sound right here. Alrighty, there's the sound. The POAP secret word for this evening. You will love these things, Andrew, and you're actually on it. So we'll have to get you one, maybe in spirit. But the POAP secret word is fusion cuisine, all one word. FUSION CUISINE. Let's see if this thing works.
The app is right at the top as the first pinned tweet if you don't have it yet, Andrew.
Right at the top. Trying to see if I can follow along with you guys.
This did not work for me.
You might have to change the time.
Well, I thought we were in the window. So, Andrew, tell us about some other things that you have coming up with opening up a restaurant. What type of time frame are you working on?
All right. Well, as I've learned real quickly, it's really up to the architect. I have found that between working with your concept and then investors, your architect, your general contractor, the city and permitting, liquor licenses, fire marshals, everything, the architect is really who drives the boat, if you will. They come up with plans, and it's not just as simple as drawings. It's everything from where an outlet goes to where a drain goes, structural, everything. If you want to put a window in, it's the architect. So I would say the architectural part of it probably takes 2 to 3 months. And then you have about a month and a half to 2 months of filing with the city. And then after that, it is just pure construction. Luckily, the construction is shorter than the filing with the city and architect together. So if everything goes well, and I'm knocking on wood as I talk to you guys, 8 months.
All right. That'll go by fast, and you'll want to have that time to get ready. So that's not too bad.
Yeah. Just in time for the busy summer.
Dude, that's perfect. That's really exciting. And you have obviously a location in mind. This is down in the Charleston area.
That's right. due to non-disclosure agreements, all that I can say right now is
Yep.
Daniel Island.
Oh, cool, buddy.
That's right. Thank you.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you know, the Low Country, something about it captured your attention, and now they have another great chef about to open a restaurant. That's amazing.
Hey, thanks, man. I really hope you and I can do a collaborative cooking sometime, man. You are a heck of a chef. Everybody listening right now, you guys better recognize Grant knows what he's doing with the pan. I'll tell you.
we 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 have cooked a few things in the past, Andrew. We have cooked a couple things, and we've certainly eaten a bunch of things. I feel like you know, there's never enough cooking to happen, and so hopefully in my old age I'll get to cook more and more. But we do have some really cool, exciting, fun things coming down the hallway of the kitchen. I think I fixed this POAP thing. Fusion cuisine. I mean, I spelled it. I gave 5 more minutes on the window. Fusion cuisine is the secret word. If anyone wants to give it a try, I'm throwing in the chef towel. So Andrew, guess who I ran into here in the mountains?
Tell me it was Chef Sean Kelly.
No, I ran into our buddy Trip.
Oh, Trip! I'm going to his wedding in 2 weeks. Nice.
Yes, it's up here.
Yes, it is. I'm very excited. I'll be there.
Dude, well, we'll have to bug you while you're up here. I don't know if we'll be here, but yes. But I was sitting here eating like fries or a snack or something outside on a porch, and I saw a car pull up. It had South Carolina plates, and you know, he's fairly recognizable dude. You know, he's got his long hair and all that, and
Yeah, he used to be a chefware model. He used to put on
yeah,
chef coats and model them.
yeah, that's right. He would slip that in every now and again, wouldn't he?
No, he sure would, but we would slip it in more than him. We would make sure to print them out and put photos of it around the kitchen to make them blush.
Well,
and by we, I mean me.
He's aged like a fine wine. He's still looking like a chefware model, just maybe with a couple dinner services under his belt. But
yeah.
no, I ran into him and I was like, Trip? Yeah. So then we talked, and I guess he's doing an oyster farm down there in the Low Country somewhere.
That's right. That's definitely been keeping him busy.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Oysters are huge here. It's a way of life. It's a culture.
Yeah, for sure. And it takes time to get your beds going and get it, all up and running. Let Mother Nature do what she needs to do. So that was really cool to hear, and I hope that we can get Trip on here to tell his stories about the oyster beds and some of that stuff that he has going on as well. But
he would love that. We'll definitely get him on here. Oysters are a whole nother world for people, so we'll definitely make that happen.
Yeah, and I'm sure you mess with a lot of oysters down there, and you probably are going to have some on the steakhouse menu, I would assume.
Yeah, I've done some oyster shucking competitions too.
Yeah, buddy.
It's a good time.
You were competing, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you win?
I took a third, but the two people that beat me flew in for it. So
where the heck they fly in from?
I don't. I know one of them is from New Jersey, and the other one I'm not sure. But they fly.
You gotta watch out for them Jersey shuckers, baby.
Yeah, they fly in for competitions. You know, they got to check their knives and check on bags.
Does that mean they stink when they fly home?
I hope so. I hope so.
They won, they got a couple grand in their pocket, but they just absolutely stink of oysters.
Yeah, so I've got a third and a second so far in the two competitions I've done.
Well, hopefully somebody has that on video, and I'm sure some of those oysters got sucked down with some hot sauce, which I'm sorry, Chef, we didn't get to talk about your hot sauce enough this evening. Do you have any hot sauce that you're working on right now in particular?
So I'm huge into lactic fermentation. So I love fermenting habaneros right now. But what's really growing well right now, as you guys know, in Carolina, are the Carolina Reapers. And there's there's a veterinarian right next to the restaurant that I'm at, and he's a little bit of a hippie, and he's real cool, and he just lets us pick the reapers right out of his garden at the vet. And I think those are awesome. Get the Scoville units up.
That's incredible, dude. What's the ferment time on that?
I let them ferment for 21 days. It gets nice and funky. You can do it at 5 days. You can pull it and go, but at 21 days, you really get that funk flavor. And I like to keep my pH at like 3.5, so it's nice and shelf stable, and it's got a real strong bite to it. And I use that hot sauce as a base, right? Super concentrated and hot, and then I can do anything with it. I can take just a couple droppers with an eyedropper and make a ramen out of that, or I can put it just a little piece on some raw sashimi tuna, and it's a whole nother world the way it'll cut through fat. It's great.
So are you blending into a sauce before fermentation or after fermentation?
So I just mince it before I ferment it, just to expose surface area in a RoboCoupe or a food processor, if you will. And I just kind of let it just rough chop up so it gets exposed surface area. I let it ferment, get a nice healthy fermentation on it. I may make sure to use white vinegar to kill off harmful bacteria. I don't use any dangerous cleaning products. I like to keep things safe and more natural, especially when you're going to be canning something. And then after it's fermented, blend it up really well, pass it through a fine mesh, and I just keep that juice, and that's what I bottle.
Dude, that's really awesome. That's amazing, man.
Thank you. One day we'll talk moonshine. That's my other hobby.
Yeah, no, we'll do more than talk about it. But we try and stick to an hour for these podcasts so that everybody kind of knows what to expect and just can kind of have that hour vibe thing going on. And the Noun Square has been kind enough to do the soapbox thing with us tonight. So, Andrew, this is our Wednesday show. We do it every day at 8. And then tomorrow night, we have another show that's called Chefish that my friend Michael Gottlieb, I don't know if you met Michael, he will probably be doing most of the interviews over there on Thursday night with other chefs that are in his world, and kind of like dive into all things chefish. Then Friday night, we have another show called FOODNOUN Fridays that Ryan does. He's one of the founders of the DAO. Saturday, we do a contest show where it's just like freaking crazy, where we give away all sorts of, prizes and sometimes Ethereum. Sunday, we do an innovation show that's more focused on the innovation side of food production. And then on Monday, we have a really fun show that's called Milk and Cookies. That is, we do live baking. So they've been baking cookies every week, and then you have a week to bake the cookies that they baked. And if you bake the cookies, then you can win a prize. And so that's like a pretty fun baking show. And then on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock, we have Blooms in Season, which is focused on gardening, local and permaculture sustainability types of projects. And so within that, we try and have a pretty good group of shows throughout the week for different, styles of conversation around food and different topics. And so it's pretty cool. We're kind of just getting the ball rolling and getting into our groove on that. So we would really love to have you come back and talk. I'm already thinking outside the box here. I know you got a little one on the way, but you got the whole evening to yourself. Maybe we do a hot sauce show, chef. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. But irregardless, I will definitely reach out probably sometime over the next few days, and we'll get you like all the links and everything that you need so that you can kind of figure out what the heck we're doing over here, because we would love to have you involved, and there's lots of really cool opportunities. Actually, I think that you might be our hot sauce guy. You might be our hot sauce guy. But it sounds like Contest Toshi is leading us into the future. Contest Toshi, did anybody get the Poe app? Oh well, we all have enough of them. Chef.
Well, I can't thank you enough for having me on your show, and I can't thank everybody enough for listening to me. And if you guys are ever in Charleston, look me up, Andrew Singer, and it'd be my pleasure to meet you.
Chef, we're not too far away. You'll definitely see us. You'll see us very soon. I can't wait to come down and chill. And thank you again. A bite with me. We absolutely want you to come back and hang out. We need to talk about your food as well. Thank you so much. This has been fun tonight.
You too, brother. Take care. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.